Double standards, often referred to as double standards, seem like an invisible ghost lurking in every corner, ready to influence our behavior and judgments at any moment. Have you ever experienced a situation where, at a gathering, a friend tells a joke that gets everyone laughing, but if you tell a similar joke, it falls flat? This "I can, but you can't" mentality is a classic example of double standards. Whether in our families, workplaces, or on social media, double standards are everywhere, shaping how we view others and ourselves. The existence of double standards not only leaves us feeling confused and helpless but also subtly impacts our mental state and relationships. Imagine how exhausting it is when we are lenient towards others' mistakes while being overly critical of our own small errors. Even more troubling, double standards can lead to societal divisions, widening the gaps between individuals. Today, we're going to explore the dangers of double standards in a fresh, lighthearted way, and discuss how we can avoid this phenomenon in our daily lives. We'll talk about how double standards manifest in areas like gender, class, and culture, and analyze their effects on our inner selves and interpersonal relationships. Finally, we'll share some simple yet effective tips to help everyone tackle double standards with ease. I believe that through this discussion, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the essence of double standards, along with some practical tools to use in your life. So don't close the video. This content is designed for those looking to improve themselves. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on more engaging content. Now, let's lift the veil on double standards in our lives. In our daily lives, double standards manifest in various forms, most prominently in the areas of gender, class, and culture. Let's explore how these double standards appear around us and the hidden impacts they carry. Gender double standards are all too common. Have you ever noticed how men and women are often treated very differently in many situations? For instance, when men work overtime, it's viewed as dedication and responsibility, whereas women who do the same often face questions about neglecting their family responsibilities. This subconscious judgment seems to reinforce traditional views of men as breadwinners and women as homemakers, pressuring everyone's choices. There are also amusing examples, such as how men can freely showcase their achievements and confidence in social settings, while women doing the same may be labeled as aggressive or self-centered. Such double standards not only create confusion but also make us feel constrained in our pursuit of self-worth. Let's look at some specific examples. In the workplace, female leaders often get criticized for being too assertive or not nurturing enough, while their male counterparts are seen as decisive and strong-willed. This differing interpretation of leadership styles forces many women to suppress their personalities to fit outdated gender stereotypes. Even at home, women are typically expected to shoulder more caregiving and management responsibilities, even when they work just as hard as men. This double standard not only feels perplexing but also frustrating. We can't help but ask, what is the basis for this unequal treatment? Shouldn't our behavior standards be independent of gender differences? Next, let's discuss double standards related to social class. In today's society, money and status often dictate a person's voice and power. Think about celebrities who easily evade legal consequences for their mistakes, while ordinary people face severe penalties for minor infractions. This double standard can leave us feeling a sense of injustice. Does wealth really allow one to act without consequence? For example, when certain celebrities behave drunkenly in public, they may receive minimal media coverage, while an ordinary person would likely be bombarded with public outrage for the same actions. This phenomenon not only stirs anger but also deepens social inequality, creating invisible pressure. We can illustrate this with a few examples. Imagine a wealthy individual making a scene in a restaurant. They might only be gently asked to leave by the manager, while an ordinary person in the same situation could be forcibly removed by security. This unequal treatment shows that class differences extend beyond wealth. They also affect the rights and respect we receive. Such double standards not only provoke anger but also exacerbate social inequality, prompting us to wonder, isn't this unfair? Everyone deserves equal treatment, regardless of their financial status. Finally, cultural and racial double standards are equally significant. In a multicultural society, people from different racial and cultural backgrounds often face varying treatment. Consider how customs from certain cultures may be questioned when understood by others, while the same behaviors might be considered normal in local cultures. For instance, traditional attire from some ethnic groups might be misinterpreted as outlandish at international events, even though it represents a cultural heritage at home. This double standard leaves us feeling confused about cultural identity, making it difficult to truly integrate into a diverse society. From the discussion above, it's clear that the existence of double standards not only affects individual psychology and emotions but also subtly impacts our social structure. It acts like an invisible knife, continually slicing through our sense of balance, leading us to lose our way in self-identity and interpersonal relationships. Next, let's delve deeper into the specific effects of double standards on our inner selves, relationships, and mental well-being. The existence of double standards not only creates inequality at the societal level but also deeply impacts our inner lives, relationships, and mental states. Next, we will explore the profound effects of double standards on our daily lives. First, the inner moral conflict is a common feeling that double standards bring us. Have you ever noticed how you tend to be very forgiving of a friend's mistakes, yet you are overly critical of your own? This self-doubt creates significant inner contradictions. For example, when you see a friend running late, you might think, it's okay, everyone has things to juggle. But when you are late, you might berate yourself, thinking, why am I so unreliable? This imbalance stems from double standards, dragging us into a vortex of self-neglect. To better understand this, let's consider a little story. Imagine you're at a gathering with friends. Your friend drinks too much and everyone laughs it off, easing the awkwardness. However, when you accidentally overindulge, the response is one of surprise and confusion. In that moment, you realize that, to some people, your actions are scrutinized more closely. This emotional disparity leads us to constantly reflect, why can't I be as carefree as he is? Faced with such double standards, our inner moral conflict becomes increasingly tricky. Next, the awkwardness in interpersonal relationships is a direct impact of double standards. These standards often spark unpleasantness among family and friends, even becoming barriers to relationships. Picture a scenario where you discuss a topic with your family, and if your views contradict their traditional beliefs, they might dismiss you with a, "you don't understand." Yet, when another family member expresses similar views, they receive validation. This situation can leave you feeling disrespected within your family, making communication more challenging. For instance, a young person might express a desire to pursue their career dreams at a family gathering, only to be told by their parents that they should focus on family responsibilities and seek a stable life. However, when their siblings choose similar paths, they receive parental support. This double standard fills them with resentment and strains family dynamics. In such circumstances, we often feel helpless, wanting to express ourselves but unsure how to do so, leading us to suppress our thoughts. This not only creates awkwardness but also fosters a rift among family members. Finally, the psychological pressure from prolonged double standards often leaves us feeling exhausted. Living under these standards, anxiety and oppression continuously accumulate, sometimes feeling unbearable. Imagine having an invisible set of standards in your life that forces you to constantly meet others' expectations, and when you can't, the weight of that pressure feels like a mountain on your shoulders. This situation can affect your mood and even lead to physical and mental health issues. Let's illustrate this with an example. A person might work overtime constantly, hoping to earn their boss's approval, yet no matter how hard they try, they can't seem to shake the label of, "you're just an assistant." This ongoing self-denial and pressure buildup eventually causes them to lose composure during a work presentation, leaving a poor impression on colleagues and superiors. Such instances lead to even greater despair, as they realize their efforts are not being rewarded fairly. Through an in-depth exploration of inner moral conflicts, interpersonal awkwardness, and psychological pressure, we can see that double standards have far-reaching and complex effects on our lives. They not only leave us feeling confused and helpless, but also subtly influence our relationships and mental health. Next, we will discuss how to easily avoid double standards and seek a more balanced and joyful way of living. Once we recognize the impact of double standards in our lives, it's natural to wonder, how can we easily avoid this unfair phenomenon? The truth is, steering clear of double standards isn't that difficult. It all comes down to increasing self-awareness, practicing empathy, establishing consistent standards, and advocating for systemic change. Let's explore these methods one by one, adding a touch of humor to help us understand better. First, enhancing self-awareness is the crucial first step to avoiding double standards. We often unintentionally apply different standards to ourselves and others, but improving our self-awareness can help us spot these hidden biases. Imagine if you could examine your actions like a detective, you might discover unconscious double standards. For instance, when considering a friend's behavior, ask yourself, would I view their actions differently based on their gender, social class, or cultural background? These little self-inquiries can lead to deeper reflections on our attitudes. Of course, reflection doesn't have to be serious. We can use humor to check our double standards. Picture this: at a social gathering, you suddenly say, I absolutely believe everyone deserves a chance to make mistakes, except for me. Everyone might burst into laughter, but it also highlights your hidden biases. In this light-hearted atmosphere, self-reflection becomes enjoyable rather than burdensome. Next, learning empathy is a vital way to reduce double standards. Putting ourselves in others' shoes can help us avoid getting stuck in the double standard trap. For instance, when a friend faces a setback at work, try to imagine how you would feel in their situation. This empathy exercise not only helps you understand others' circumstances but also strengthens emotional connections between people. You can enhance your empathy skills through fun activities like humorous role-playing. Gather friends for a perspective-switching game where everyone plays a different character and must speak from each other's viewpoints during discussions. This not only makes conversations enjoyable but also fosters understanding amidst laughter. Through such light-hearted methods, empathy transforms from a burden into a bridge that strengthens relationships. Establishing consistent standards is also an effective way to avoid double standards. Whether at home or work, having clear and simple rules can help everyone maintain uniform expectations. For example, you might create a family constitution with input from everyone to agree on some fundamental principles. Such guidelines can make life more orderly and reduce conflicts arising from double standards. Imagine a rule in your family constitution stating, everyone can participate in family decisions, regardless of age. This allows children to voice their opinions, boosting their confidence. When these rules are taken seriously, interactions among family members become more harmonious. The importance of consistency cannot be overstated. It helps us avoid unnecessary conflicts in daily life. Finally, advocating for systemic change is a fundamental way to reduce double standards at their roots. Through education and social reform, we can gradually eliminate deeply ingrained biases. Many social examples show the power of humor. In certain movements, humor often conveys messages more effectively than serious lectures. When people accept ideas while laughing, they're more likely to reflect on their own attitudes and actions. You can participate in or initiate activities that promote anti-double standard campaigns with a humorous twist through social media. Not only does this attract more attention, but it also encourages everyone to think in a relaxed and enjoyable atmosphere. In this way, everyone can become a catalyst for change, contributing to a fairer and more inclusive society. Avoiding double standards doesn't require us to be overly serious or harsh on ourselves. By enhancing self-awareness, practicing empathy, establishing consistent standards, and advocating for systemic change, we can all take easy steps against double standards. Let's recap the dangers of double standards and how to maintain consistency in our lives to become better versions of ourselves. In this video, we delved into the concept of double standards and their various manifestations, revealing their profound impact on our inner selves, relationships, and mental well-being. Double standards not only create social injustices, but they also subtly erode our interpersonal connections and self-perception, leading us to carry heavy psychological burdens. As Marcus Aurelius said, the difficulties we face are created by our own minds. Recognizing this allows us to start reflecting and making changes. However, avoiding double standards is not impossible. By enhancing our self-awareness, cultivating empathy, establishing consistent standards, and advocating for systemic reform, we can gradually eliminate these inequitable notions and create a more harmonious environment. As Epictetus noted, it is not the things themselves that trouble us, but our opinions about them. Thus, changing our perspective and enhancing our understanding is key to solving these issues. In our daily lives, we can approach our behaviors and attitudes with humor, learning to face the challenges posed by double standards with a light-hearted mindset. By understanding and embracing others, we not only improve our relationships but also enhance our inner happiness. Let's continue striving on this path against double standards, reflecting continually to become better versions of ourselves. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to like and share it with your friends. We also welcome your thoughts on double standards in the comments, or feel free to share your experiences and reflections. Every comment and share motivates us to keep creating. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to join the discussion. We look forward to growing and progressing together.